Just making sure this all goes live, folks, and then we're off. All right. Excellente. Welcome, everybody. This is I'm doing this a short thing for my academy students, and I suppose for anybody on YouTube who manages to pick this up, because I want to briefly talk about my book of the year. I'm going to do a full article about this, but it's because my book of the year is so unusual and is so brilliant. It is really, really an amazing book that it could send. And I'm actually on holidays, and I'm actually about to go on holidays, and I didn't want to leave people with the book of the year without giving a little bit of explanation, because you high fact finders all go off and research a bunch of software, and you go and get a whole bunch of software, and none of the software works. Well, rephrase, it works, but it's not really appropriate. It's not worked on. So it's very, 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 very important for you to be able to do all of this. Okay, what you're seeing on screen has nothing to do with it. It is my that is a set of post-it notes from my we're doing a course called The Recipe at the moment for my academy students, and we've just finished a session, but I needed to record this now, and so I don't want to be like YouTubers, so I want to get straight to the meat straight away and do this. So the first thing I will do is I will stop this sharing so you can just see me, because I want you to have a look at this, because my book of the year is without doubt the ugliest looking book with the worst title on the planet, right? And I don't know how it came up on the algorithm. Somehow it's like the book is a translation of a German methodology, and Dr. Ahrens has done this book is extraordinary. But if I just told you, hey, look, there's this book called How to Take Smart Notes, and it had a look like that, you would go, wow, okay, this is it's lost his marbles. But this book is absolutely magnificent. It is a total 100% game changer. All right. So I'm not going to tell you a lot about the book now, because I've got a whole article coming up about the book. What I wanted to do, and to get the meat of this book, so just go order this book. If I remember, I'll put my Amazon link down below, but just go get the book, right? It's available on Kindle. You can get the hard copy book. It is magnificent. It is the talk of the internet glitterati. I've been telling all my friends about this book, because I had to. It was so good that I actually had to fact check myself. I couldn't believe what I was sort of reading at the time, right? And so, in summary, it's with using there's been such a huge amount of research in the last 2 to 3 years about how we remember, how we recall, how we work, how we implement things. If you know anything about me, if you watched any of my webinars or anything, you know that as entrepreneurs, we are really weird and different people, and we do things very, very differently. And in our little family of entrepreneurs, there are different styles of entrepreneurs as well. All right. And so we take notes. Lots of people take notes, right? There are all sorts of ways of taking notes. Trouble is, most of them suck. And for entrepreneurs in particular, you take notes and you never look at them again, right? That's the reality of it. You'll take notes and you'll never review them again, right? You may have books lined of notes. And when was the last time you had a look at them? When was the last time you found a nugget, a piece of something that was incredible and useful? So here's the reason for the book, okay? So that you understand. If you want to generate something, and this is like a fact finder wet dream, sorry to be slightly crude, right? Is if you truly want to be in the top 1% of your, like if you want to make an original contribution and you want to do it in a way that you're learning and you're delivering and giving to the market at the same time, then this book is the book, right? This is the, How to Take Smart Notes by Sonki Ahrens is the book. Okay. It is quite amazing. Let me just double check the YouTube chat, because if people are, did you get that in the chat there? Anyway, I'll put a link in the show notes as well. So here's the thing that I want to talk to you about right now, right? So it is extraordinary, right? Just make no mistake. If Gary Halbert had this, the thing, a lot of this is very similar to what Gary Halbert would do, as some of my friends have noted. But here's the thing. Gary Halbert did this by project, right? So once the project was done, that incredible box of knowledge effectively got thrown out, never to be used again. But we know that the path to innovation and innovative thoughts and creative thoughts, you can write a book in a market, and there are many methods that have been taught successfully, like the Matt Church method of, buying 6 books, underlying them, what do you agree with, what don't you agree with, and why, and then you create your own book on the topic, and it's a good summary of other people's work. But there's not the je ne sais quoi. It's not going to become a bestseller because it's an original contribution to knowledge. This is the path to doing that, right? So this is the path to doing that. And what is brilliant about it is the process. So again, I'm not going to go into a whole lot of detail now. I want to show you how I do it, how I execute it. And this may not mean I could spend, and in the academy, we are going to spend, it's going to be our side project for our FOMO training for January, is going to be implementing all of this stuff. But I did want to put it on the record here for you to all see. Okay. So the two, and of course, let me bring it up here so you can see it. Very important. So translated from German, it's the slip box method. And the reason none of you have heard about this, because it was a German, it's a German process developed in Germany. And that's why, bless the Amazon algorithm, and it kept putting this book in front of my face again and again and again. Okay, so let's make sure we've got the right sharing here. Let me make sure come on, little buddy. Come on, little buddy. There we are. Okay, it'll pop up in a sec. Okay, so I'm going to just very quickly go through the process. You may not get it until you've read the book and until you've internalized it. We're going to be studying this, as I say, in the academy all through January. But I very quickly want to point out that you don't need a whole bunch of software. You don't need to do a whole bunch of things. It does need to be done. But Ed, you say that us high quick starts and low follow throughs will never do anything electronically. The genius of this is how it is catered to people like us who really struggle with looking at notes. Again, you won't understand what I'm talking about. All right, that's okay. I'm just going to show you. There's one piece of software you need, and there is one, certainly if you're on iOS, that I would use. Okay, so the piece of software, and it's completely cross-platform, and it's written with this in mind. It's called IA Writer. Okay, so that's I, the letter I, the letter A, Writer. Okay, IA Writer. That is the app. It's a word processor. And they promote it as organizational writing. It's been built for this process, and it's constantly been worked on. I've used it for years. Now I use it as my slip box. This is my electronic slip box. Again, you won't know what I'm talking about. That's cool, because it will become incredibly clear the very moment you read the book, right? So, and here's the trick. You use IA Writer for nothing else. The only thing you use IA Writer for is your slip box, where you put all your little notes, your metaphoric index cards, when this was originally created, it was used with index cards, right? So we do that. So as I'm reading a book, what I will do is, if I see something that I want to remember, so what I will do is, often if I'm walking or I'm watching a video or I'm doing something, I'll use drafts, and I'll trap on the draft on my watch, literally, and say, cool story about the history of lawns in the book Homo Deus. And I'm done. Were you watching? Were you watching what happened on the screen? Wow. Look at that. Because I'm using drafts, it automatically populates to wherever I have drafts. So I can be walking the dog, I can be doing anything, right? And it will populate on, and that's all you need to do. There are two types of notes that you need to take. The first one is just a reminder. And as long as you do the note within 24 hours or so, it's incredible what you will recall, okay, about this thing. So great, I've got this cool story. So when I go to process this note, and you'll notice on my iPad here, and I'm just going to swap it into keyboard mode here. Shouldn't make any difference to you guys, but it'll help me type. Right, so all I do is I hit create a new tag, and then I use a Siri shortcut. Now, unfortunately, the Siri shortcuts are a bit funny at the moment, so I'll just use this. I'll just do it manually. So I've got a shortcut, create note ID, because you have to make sure there's a unique number for each note ID. So I've done that, and I just put paste, and then I put the history of lawns. And the key part of this note, and I'm doing it live, so it'll look horrible, but that's okay, right? You're not live normally, right? So I'm talking about the history of lawn, and it's this really amazing anecdote in the book Homo Deus, where the first lawn was built for Louis I in France. The lawn was the ultimate status symbol, because the lawn was the ultimate status symbol. Only the extremely rich had the time, money, and servants to maintain a lawn. Everyone else was trying to survive. Now, the key to these notes is that they are editorial. In other words, you could give the note to the person and, pardon me, you could give the note to any person and they would completely 100% get it. Okay, so that they would 100% get what you're writing in this note, and they would get the point of the note. the lawn today, thanks to technology, something many middle class many middle class families have. Now, if I was editing a book, I wouldn't use that phrase, but I'm just making a note, right? I want this minimum viable. Right, so the launch day, thanks to technology, is something. So for me, so the interesting thing for me was, what does this mean for status symbols? Now I'm going to do something here. Hashtag status, hashtag symbols. Because guess what? In your system, the key to the system is using topics to be able to group areas together. Now, again, you're not going to understand any of this without the book. But if you have read the book or you're in the book, you realize what I just did was extraordinary. Because just by adding a hashtag, I can now search on these hashtags, right, in this group. So if I'm doing an article on status or symbols or status symbols, I can then bring up all the articles where I've used those tags. All right. That's a very, very, very important part of the process, right? So I could go through and continue to add this, right? So I'm not going to, but you can see the idea, by the way, is to keep the notes. So here's one that I did before. Showmanship wins competitions. There was a fascinating experiment conducted where a panel of experts and non-experts were asked to pick the winner of a piano competition. There were 3 types: audio, video, just video, no audio. Incredibly, by a substantial margin, both groups were able to pick the winners significantly more. What was surprising was the group. The audio, which really should be the best way to judge, produced the worst result. The experts producing no better than the non-experts. At that level of expertise in those type of competitions, everyone's good. It's often showmanship which sets the winners apart. So what the lesson was here, and I read this 29th of November, but I can remember the note like nothing, right? I can tell you, right? The people who won were the people who just watched the video without sound. Like the way that you could tell, the most reliable methodology for experts and non-experts, and the non-experts were as good as the experts in judging the winner of the piano competition by watching a video with the sound off. Wasn't that extraordinary? And boy, did I see this with Annabelle, right? My daughter, right? Who does violin, right? It's such an important thing. And then I use tags: the formula, which was the book, showmanship, physiology, experts, and judgment. So that way I've categorized that. And anytime I'm looking to do research in this topic, I can do that. Now you're all thinking, Ed, this is just studying. This is no big deal. Read the damn book, right? Because this is not that at all. Right? Because then what I can start to see is how many notes. This is all in text. So I can start to do all these amazing things, which we'll talk about in January in the Academy. I'm off on holidays. I would love to answer questions on this, but I'm not going to right now. I just desperately needed to show this because people that I showed the book to in the Academy, and they're going to rush off with their like chooks with their heads cut off. And they're going to do all sorts of wrong things where all they need is IA Writer to do this, because then the key then is, and you're not going to know what this means, but if I use the right keyboard and I use these little square brackets, which means nothing to you, but those little square brackets that I just added in, like I said, will mean nothing to you whatsoever, but that is then the chef's kiss of why this works so well. Like I said, why did I do this video? I did this video because I wanted to show you very quickly how to capture an idea, what a short note looks like, cool story about the history of lawns in the book Homo Deus. And then I wanted to show you writing what a permanent note looks like and the tool that I use to do it so that you know it. All right. I'm just going to quickly chat just to see that there's no thing. Evernote will not help you. Evernote is a disaster. Will not help you do this, right? 100%. Evernote will not help you to do this. It's absolutely the most horrible thing you could possibly use for this, right? It is not right. It is just, it is just amazing. The process, and again, in the Academy, folks, we're going to go through this in depth. I'm going to answer all your questions. But please, for the love of all things holy, whatever you do, use a traditional note-taking program, because entrepreneurs will get ruined by it. Okay, sorry. I just desperately needed to get that out. My apologies, because this is in no way selling you on the absolute extraordinary book, which is How to Take Smart Notes. I can tell you, you name the, Rich Sheffrin, Todd Brown, James Shremko, like when I've given these guys this book, Justin Brooke, right? It's like explosions going off, right? That's how powerful this book is, right? It is so, so good. With that, have a great new year. Look out for the Book of the Year article where I'll actually put my case as to why this book is so important, so you'll be able to read about it. And I can't wait to see you all in January. We've got a new academic year at the Academy, and our FOMO training will be all about this. And we'll also be, and I can't wait to work with my new recipe students as we work through that through January, and I can't wait to coach you all in the new year. So with that, I'm off on holidays. I'm turning into a pumpkin. See you all later. Have a great holidays wherever you are. Ciao for now.